Hello, darling, this is Bubbles DeVere. Open the champagne because you're listening to a Bergkamp Wonderland.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli, and tonight my guests are, first up, the proud owner of a bag of dicks. It's Danny the GFP. Hello, Danny.
All right, little Gimli, have you got over the excitement of seeing the white stuff falling from the sky and thinking Christmas had come early?
To be honest with you, I led there on my back with my nose in the air, just hoping. But
Yeah.
it just got cold.
Did it?
Yeah. And
Damn.
plus, I was covered. 7 inches we had here. 7 inches.
Oh, 7 inches.
7 inches.
I think we had about 3 or 4, possibly. They went
Everything
round
ground to a halt. Literally, you go down to Tesco's the day before it's happened. All the milk, that's fucking gone. Bread, that's fucking gone. Anything that anyone might use in bulk is fucking gone. Like tobacco, they had the most expensive tobacco, and that's because people around here are tight, so they just bought the cheap one. So then I had to buy the expensive one. I like snow for what it is as an entity, but really, after about 3 days, you think, just fuck off and die.
I love this. I saw a tweet from someone saying, Southerners, beware, snow is coming. It could be the end of the world. Northerners, put your coat on.
It is very true.
Go on.
I'm going to ask you what? About your bag of dicks?
About how my day's been so far.
How has your day been so far? By the way, this is for Chaz.
It is.
Just for Chaz, not anybody else.
Chaz. Yes. He added me on Facebook. I feel privileged. An author of his lovely book.
On Facebook.
What's his book called? Running is running
better than therapy.
Running is better than it's only $6.99. I can't even run, and I'm thinking of getting a copy. You could roll me down a hill, I suppose. My day, now that you ask, I was trying to open a Tassimo packet of coffee, and I couldn't get it open, so I got my grabber and I just started beating it with the grabber, and then I fucked up 2 of the capsules inside, so the milk leaked all over it and all over the drawer. But at least I win because I was beating it, and that's how you win.
You know, I've been out 3 times this week. First time was to go and play in the snow with the dogs. Second time was to
I saw that picture.
It was lovely. They had a whale of a time. And the second time was to go and get bits from Tesco, and
what
obviously,
did you nick?
Nothing. I went through self-service and I paid for it all. I'm quite proud to say. And the third time was stuck in Tesco's again, behind someone who had about 30 loaves of bread, 2 pots of crab paste, some diarrhea tablets, and
if you say you thought of me, I'm going to kill you.
And some Greek yogurt. But to be honest with you, it did look like an able-bodied female version of you. I did think of you.
So she had all that toilet paper for the back door and then the yogurt for the front door, so they're covered no matter what happened with all that bread.
Do you get when you go to supermarkets, so you look at what people have bought and think, are you going to use that?
I have Tesco's home delivery. I don't mix with the oi filoy. Dirty.
It's terrible. We will move on to our next guest, but Chaz, that segment was for you. If you didn't enjoy it, unlucky. Next up, ABW's resident Cockney, it's Geoff Arsenal.
Hello, Gimli.
Oh, it's a pleasure. As Danny said earlier, you've been moonlighting.
How the devil are you? I have indeed, yes.
Oh.
I've been on another podcast that we're not allowed to name because we are not allowed to name our podcast on...
It's shameful that we are not your one and only.
Well, I told you earlier on, I used to get invited on loads and loads of podcasts, but my stock has unfortunately dwindled over the last few months.
You've been invited on Goonies in the USA. They want you. I mean, I know it's scraping the barrel.
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, mate. I have to set up a date. I can't. You know, I'm free any time, really. Now I've got plenty of time on me.
Don't touch them, Geoff. They're foreign fans. They don't know nothing.
You might even get a bag of dicks if you're lucky.
Yeah. Why didn't you tell them about your bag of dicks, Danny? Are you sucking on them now?
I ate the entire lot yesterday whilst watching the West Ham game. So,
did you really?
Yeah, Gimli was on the American one, Andy and Mike, the Goonies in the USA pod, and they're sponsored by bagadicks.com that our Jace, honestly thought was a joke because shitter glitter might not be real, but we can't confirm that. And then Jace went, I don't like that bag of dicks, but it's not funny. Well, it's an actual company. And so Gimli's pod did a quiz or something, and Jove, Jason's mate from the radio show, won it.
My mate, I talk to him most days.
Yeah. Well, he won it, didn't he? And he picked me to have them the bag of dicks sent to.
I picked him for the best question, and then he picked you as the recipient.
It's like a human centipede of football podcasts.
So just to confirm, Danny, how many dicks can you fit in a mouth at
the entire bag.
Really?
Yes.
What did they taste of?
Sausage.
embarrassment and shame.
Oh, we're getting complaints already. Fucking hell, who's that? Jeff telling us to get on
Jeff,
with it.
Get back in your box.
Oh, do you know, no, this is supposed to be a football podcast, not about your personal life and what you're sucking of a night time, Danny. Fuck me, it's not very nice. I've got to have my dinner later on.
Was Clive? He wasn't only sucking.
Was Clive as lovely as he comes across on his pods?
What an absolute gentleman! I swear to God. Honestly.
We love Clive.
Come on, this isn't a people podcast.
Exactly how he sounds on the podcast, and his mannerisms is exactly the same in real life. Gentleman.
Lovely.
Speaking of which, someone who's not very gentlemanly, our next guest. Next up, ABW's very own Welsh rarebit. It's Jason Davis. Hello, Jason.
Hi, pal.
Are we keeping this short and sweet, or do you want to tell us how your week's gone? Infuriate Jeff a little bit more.
I'm currently laughing at the thought of you covered in white stuff after having 7 inches.
Was that the front?
It's gone downhill.
I mean the front garden. The front garden. Yeah.
Oh, gee, let's get on. Move on.
Okay, and finally, ABW's favourite quiffed journo. It's Simon. Hello, Simon.
Hello, Gim. How you doing?
Oh, pleasure to have you back.
I'm feeling very good. I'm just a bit upset that someone who lives near you's obviously got the same shopping list as me. I'm a bit concerned.
Really?
Great minds think alike, obviously.
And what do you do with 2 bottles of crab paste and 32 loaves of bread?
Oh, that's for an after dark. That's not for.
He mashes it up and uses it as hair gel.
Yeah.
It's all that starch.
From the smell of her, she put it down her top. Right. Anyway, now is the time that we head over to Danny for all of the scores across the board, if he can be bothered, and a loan watch if he's done one.
Well, if there was a loan watch, which player from the loan watch would you be most interested in hearing about?
Joel Campbell.
Joel Campbell. Okie dokie. I shall go and get the thing. Here we go. Joel Campbell, Real Betis. Right, come on, internet. Oh, lovely. Oh no, it's not got me the right bloody pages. Yeah. See, this bit is always a bit of surprise. It's like the number wang of podcasting. Still sprained ankle, hasn't played in any of their. He's been sprained ankle now for the last 5 weeks. So they've got their summer break, their winter break coming up soon. So he should be okay for that. Hopefully. Well, I don't know. There's a website that tells you how long he's out for. But then we go and have a look at the under 23s. We went to Man City and beat them 1-0. That's amazing. They're unbeaten. They're the greatest team in living history. Pele's coming out of retirement to play for them. And what's his first name? Geordie OC22 scored a goal, and only the Geoff got an assist, didn't he? The Geoff is back, number 11. Wasn't he on the bench for one of our games in the midweek? I think he might have been. He might have been the Batty Borisov one. Anyway, nice to see him there. So we're currently 3rd in that league. But we are 8 points behind Liverpool in first place. And the under-18s, well, they went to Swansea. Did you go and watch them, Jace?
No.
Okay. They went to Swansea and they beat them 3-0. It's quite tidy. And someone whose first name begins with an X, Xavier. If I ever had a boy, I'm going to call him Xavier. Xavier Amachi scored, and then was Tyrese John Jules from the Ministry of Sound Party, and then the final goal scorer was Bakio Sarko. I have to read the little link that pops up down the bottom. Yeah, so we beat them 3-0. We're currently 2nd in the under-18 league, and we are 6 points behind the leaders, Chelsea. I don't think the women have played in quite a while now because they have lots of other qualifications and stuff. I'm just going to have a quick look. The last game was meant to be the 10th of December against Liverpool at home. It was postponed. And on the injury front, who have we got for injuries? I'm never sure which of these shortcut buttons is the right one. It's the red one. We've got Mustafi. It's been out for 12 days with a dodgy knee. And Santi Cazorla, it says any day now. It was his birthday yesterday. He was 33. Happy birthday, Santi.
Lovely.
That's all there is.
Is that it?
What else do you want?
Did you do Joel Campbell?
So yes, you did. It's the first bit I did. So he's still got a sprained ankle.
It really was that forgettable then. Tonight we're going to do it a little bit different. We have 3 games to cover. So instead of doing them individually, we're going to talk about them as a collective. So Simon, this week we've seen Jack grab a goal against Bate, come on and change the game against Southampton, and to cap it off, a solid display against West Ham. Where do you sit on him?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's it seems to be one of those cases that's properly dividing the fan base about what we do with him, because within, I mean, what we're now with the 14th, so Arsenal have basically got 2 weeks to either get him to sign a deal, or from the 1st of January he can talk to foreign clubs and get a pre-agreement in place. Can't do that with English clubs, obviously, until the summer. Or we've got to sell him in January and try and get a bit of money. Personally, for me, it's a really difficult one, but I'd quite like to keep him around, I think. But the deal I'd want to give him would be something like an 18 months to get him through to 2019, so we can have a bit more of a look at him rather than what he'll be after, which will be a sort of 4 or 5 month deal. So for me, if I could have any scenario that I wanted, I'd happily have Jack around for a bit longer, another 18 months, get him a bit fitter, a bit more in the team, because he offers something. But I think in terms of what he wants, I don't think if you offered him an 18 months at Arsenal, he'd take it. So, I mean, my gut instinct is that he'll go in January. West Ham have already said they're interested. Palace to West Brom, you'd think. So one of those clubs, which would be a shame. I think he'd love to stay at Arsenal, but I think he knows he's not going to get what he wants there. So I think it'll be the end for him, which is a shame, because as we saw, I think if he gets a good 25, 20 games, in a good run at a team, he can get back to near where he was. He's never going to be that player again, in my opinion. But he can be a good, solid Premier League player, which is good for our squad, but I don't think that's what he really wants.
Do you, Geoff, think it's all about games for Jack Wilshere? Do you think, we've seen Aaron Ramsey injured against Southampton. Do you think that this is shit or bust for him?
Well, it's absolutely no doubt. I think he's a quality player. I think we've seen that in the past, and I even think we saw it last night. I think he had a good game last night against West Ham. I agree. He offers us something different. I think he's much more fluent on the ball than in fact, Aaron Ramsey. I really do believe that. I think he's much more direct than most of the other midfield players that we have. And if you could keep him fit, and he gets a good run of games, I think he could be up there with the best of them again. Problem is, can you keep him fit? You see it in the last game, the Southampton game. You see him when he come on. He was very good for us again in that game when he come on for the time he played. But you see him just leaving the ball loose again, and a couple of times he nearly he got clumped once. But he's going to break his leg next time, the way he keeps on dragging the ball about. And if you leave it like that against big boys, you're going to get clumped. But I would like to see. I think he's definitely worth a contract. I think he's still, if we can keep him fit, and on what I've seen so far, he's still one of the best midfield players we've got at the club. I've got no doubt about that. But it's whether you keep him fit or not.
From watching the game, and you say about keeping him fit, Geoff, from watching the game last night, I thought West Ham unfairly picked on him. He had, I can think, 3 or 4 nasty challenges come on him that were basically, the Jack Wilshere challenge, when you look away and you feel yourself wincing because you think, oh, is he going to get up from that? I think he was unfairly targeted last night. Do you agree?
I don't know. I was there. I watched the game. Funny enough, I watched it with some West Ham fans. I'm not sure.
Was that Danny Dyer? Was that Danny?
No. It's quite like Danny Dyer, funny enough. But no, I don't think he was targeted. I just think they was tackles. You get them. I think Jack committed a couple of nasty tackles himself as well. I think it was all over the pitch. But no, I don't think he was targeted.
And Jace, I know that you are going to burst the Jack Wilshere bubble. You say you've got a little bit to say on this, so let's have it. And I want both barrels.
Okay, all the wank fest I've heard about Jack Wilshere over the last couple of months in Europa League, he's been playing the dog and duck. Week in, week out, he's been playing against the dog and duck. And to be honest with you, there's very little end product. You can't deny the boy's quality on the ball. Okay, he is a talent. Let's get it straight. But what's he actually contributing? For as amazing as he was last night, we still drew. Do you know what I mean? Where's the end product from him?
But I think, Jace, out of everything that we produced last night, on a night of not positives but not negatives, he was a positive.
He's a positive who blasted the ball from 9 yards out over the crossbar. Okay, we need end product as a football team. When you talk about do you keep him or do you sell him, well, all depends how much money he wants, okay? Because his injury record, he's played, 140 or 150 Premier League games for us in 9 years? That's not good enough, okay? And if he does continue to get injured, and I do agree, they do rotor-foul him a lot, okay, because he is quality on the ball, but there's not enough end product from him. He's not putting that killer pass through to get an assist all the time. He's not, putting the ball in the back of the net. And this is the problem. He's on his comeback trail. He is where he's supposed to be. He's no further ahead and he's no further behind than where he's supposed to be coming back from that broken leg. So to think of him as the saviour of Arsenal Football Club is utter fucking claptrap. It's utter nonsense.
Jace, I think that you're just getting defensive because your boy, Aaron Ramsey, is out and now Jack Wilshere can take his chance.
No, bullshit. That's utter fucking bullshit. The only thing I give a fuck about is Arsenal winning football games. I couldn't give a fuck with this Aaron Ramsey scoring, Jack Wilshere scoring, Lacazette scoring. I don't care. I'm not on this Santi Cazorla train and where, oh no, we miss Santi all the time. We don't fucking miss Santi. He's been out for a year. We haven't missed him.
Oh, Jace.
Okay, let's get something straight. Let's get something straight. When the fuck did we win the title with Santi Cazorla in the midfield?
But you're saying that Santi Cazorla adds nothing to the team?
He's 33 and done. He's not going to influence this team anymore. Forget about him.
I disagree with you there.
He's one of the most skillful midfield footballers we've ever had at the club. I promise you that.
How many? I don't. Apparently, Geoff. Okay.
It takes a team, though. It takes a team, though.
This is my point. Okay. You need a team, runner. But these guys, as individuals, don't change games for us.
He's not an individual. He's a team player. But he's very good on the ball.
Let's get something straight. Santi Cazorla passes and stands still. He's not pass and move and free for the next ball. He never does it.
You're joking.
I am not joking, guys.
I would rather have Santi Cazorla than Granit Xhaka in that team at the moment.
And we'd still lose the games and draw the games we'd lose in and draw in. This is the problem, okay? We're not moving forward as a team, and to concentrate on one player each time. If you look at Jack Wilshere, do we give him another contract? All depends on the money he's asking. Okay, because if you look at the people around him, El Nene and Coughlin, they're nowhere near his standard. He's there to compete with Ramsey and Xhaka for starting place. And I'd happily play a three-man midfield with the three of them in there because I think he's got something to offer there.
But would the argument not be, Jace, that how much does it cost to replace a Jack Wilshere and how much money is going to be available, if any, to do that?
We haven't had a Jack Wilshere.
Because you're going to let him go on a free and you're going to need to build the squad.
We've hardly had Jack Wilshere for 9 years. He's played 150 league games. You're not losing anything. Because
he's been injured. He's been injured though.
That's my point. If he's not playing, you're not losing anything. How can you replace? You're not replacing somebody who's not playing.
He played 27 games for Bournemouth last season, right? So they maybe he's coming back to fitness again now. Touchwood, he's not had an injury so far this season.
He looked sharp against West Ham, or sharper against West Ham.
I thought you had a great game last night. Okay, We didn't win though, did we? There was no killer through ball. There was no nothing amazing there. No game-changing moment from him. Okay, and I'm being really harsh on him now, but I've got to be really harsh.
I think you've been harsh on him in fucking general, Chase. To be honest,
no, you've got to be harsh on these guys at the moment. They get paid top dollar, okay, and we're 7th in the league.
But it's not his fault. He's got injured. Judge him on how
he's not played any league games.
I know. But what I'm trying to say now is the wankfest I've heard over him about the the Europa League title running so far, he's been playing against the dog and duck teams. Okay, did he stop us losing against Cologne? No. Okay, we played Bate with the most miserable side I've seen this season. Yes, you should boss against Bate. We lost against Cologne. We drew against Red Star. I didn't see him change in any games. Yes, he's always good on the ball. He's a talented footballer. He's a great footballer. Okay, but we need him to be more influential when he does play. I'm not looking at last night's game being harsh on him, okay, because ultimately he played very well last night and he was the best of a bad bunch, right? But we still didn't create anything to win us the game.
But did you think this is a problem, Jace, that when we've got someone like Jack Wilshere, and let's be honest, he's a bit of a cult hero amongst Arsenal fans. He's got a lot of people on his side that want him to do good, that want him to come back, that maybe want him to get Aaron Ramsey's place. Yet we've got you who's being overall negative about him, when really we should go, he's had his problems, he's come back, he's finding his feet again, he looked sharper last night. Let's fucking applaud the kid and get behind him rather than going, well, he's going to be shit.
No,
let's support.
Where have I said he's going to be shit? I've not said he's going to be shit. I have said he's a top quality player. He's a very good player, but we need these players to deliver now. Okay, this is the point. Okay, it's like the Rob Holding thing. He's better than Cannavaro. Fucking hell, don't put too much pressure on the guy. Jack is where he's supposed to be on his comeback trail. He's a brilliant footballer with ball at feet, okay? He offers you something very different. If you look at Ramsey, Xhaka, and Jack, okay, there's 3 different skill sets, and it's our job as a football club to marry those skill sets up so they can play together. Because the one thing Jack Wilshere doesn't do is get ahead of the ball and make runs into the box, okay? And the problem the team's got at the movement, you can have as many nice footballers on the ball as you want, unless you've got runners for them to be able to distribute to, okay? They're inconsequential. How much possession did we have last night of that ball? 70-odd%?
I can find out for you right now. I've got it up because I was writing the notes.
70.1.
70.1% of the possession. And what did we do with it? Fuck all. Right? So as well as Jack played last night, and he did play well, we did fuck all with the ball. And the most dangerous points of the game were when Arnautovic had the ball.
But from looking at the stats, Jace, 22 shots on target. 22 shots, only 3 on target. You can't blame Jack for. No,
I'm not. I'm not blaming Jack for last night's performance. Jack played well last night. You're looking at now. Do you give him another contract?
Yes, I do.
It's going to depend on how much money he wants, because he hasn't earned a pay rise. Okay, because he hasn't been there for 18 months, so he hasn't earned a pay rise with us. He's done nothing to justify a pay rise. When you're looking at who do you drop to put in there? Well, I would play a 3-man midfield because he's not going to drop Ramsey because Ramsey's got goals and assists this season. Okay, and Jack isn't as mobile as him, doesn't cover the ground as him. You're looking at Xhaka. Is he going to do what Xhaka does for us? I think he can, but he's only done it for England before. So how would you accommodate Jack into that midfield? So that's the question.
I'd drop Xhaka.
I wouldn't. I'd play a 3-man midfield. I'd accommodate him using a 3-man midfield.
Xhaka. To be honest with you, in my honest opinion, a fit Xhaka and a fit Jack Wilshere. Xhaka doesn't lace his boots, mate. He don't go nowhere near him.
Geoff, I'm with you.
Nowhere near him, mate. And you know what? I wouldn't say the same about Ramsey, but a fit Jack Wilshere and a fit Aaron Ramsey. I would pick Jack Wilshere. I really would.
They've never really had their chance to combine, have they? Because they've both been fairly. They've been.
There's a difference, Geoff. The big thing is, okay, there's a body of work, okay, over 9 years at the Arsenal. You look at assists, goals, appearances, okay, and no offence, Jack's nowhere near.
Oh, yeah, because he hasn't played.
That's not that. Yeah, but that's not anybody else's fault, is it? It's not his fault.
It's nobody's fault. I did say fit.
But bottom line, Geoff, if he's not fit, what's the point? You're looking at this in the cold light of day. Okay, how do we improve the team? And I think a fit Jack Wilshere does come in and does play a part in that, as does a fit Aaron Ramsey and a fit Xhaka.
But Jace, go on, Geoff.
We need better midfielders than both of them, to be honest with you. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, our midfield is just not really not good enough.
Guess what, Geoff? Arsene Wenger's not going to buy any good midfielders. Okay. He's not going to buy anybody at the moment. We need good centre-backs because the ones we've got at the moment are fucking putrid. Are absolutely putrid. They're like bunnies in the headlights. Cos is gone.
Well, he's going for a bad bit of form, you know.
Oh, come on, Geoff. Last season, okay, against PSG, he's on the halfway line when they're scoring. Against Liverpool, he's out of position. He's played the ball when the opposition's pressing across his back line twice in 1 week. On 10 days.
I agree. I agree.
That's unforgivable, Geoff. He's the captain of the club, okay? He's got enough experience. How stupid you have to be to do that twice in Premier League games? How stupid you have to be?
Jace,
He's not a leader.
You say Jack isn't good enough, which when he's injured, you're right. No, you're saying because he's not reliable because of his injuries.
I'm not saying he's not good enough, Dan.
Summertime.
I'm not saying he's not good enough. Where have you got that out of what I'm saying? I'm saying is, do you give him a new contract?
Yes, but the
Or
point I'm
depends-
about to make, right, is that when he's not injured, 2010-11, 49 games, 2 goals. Next season, injured. Next season, 33 games and 2 goals. Then 35 games and 5 goals. Then 22 and 2, and he got injured for the next 2 seasons. Now, this season, 14 games and 1 goal. So it is shown there that he had 2.5 consecutive seasons, and in there he scored 9 goals, and he played 60, 70, 80, best part of 100 games. So he shows he can do it. And this season, everyone's written him off, and now he's come back and gone, I've played 6 Premier
He's
League
not about
games.
goals anyway, though, is he? That's not
No,
the way
he's
to have him in the
not.
team.
But this is the thing. Where's he can? How do we get the best out of him to contribute to the team? This is
3-man
what I'm
midfield.
This is what I'm asking. Okay,
He's best in the
not
midfield,
gonna-
isn't he? Deep.
Yeah.
That's where he.
But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, he's no good in a 2-man midfield. It's going to be too much for him.
Him, Ramsey, and either Xhaka. I actually dropped Xhaka. I'd rather play the
Oh,
cock.
don't you dare! For fuck's sake!
But if you let the cock, Jace, if you let the cock just go in there and guard the back 2, back 3, back 4, say to do that and don't go Alex Song and go and think you're a forward. You stay further back than Ramsey and Wilshere the entire time. I reckon he'd be all right.
No, he's not. He's shit. Forget it.
Sorry.
He didn't do that against Hazard, did he? When he fell over.
No.
Well, that's a different type of player. He's not that bloody level. Even I wouldn't expect that.
No, but look, come on. What I'm trying to say is, if you're looking at Jack Wilshere at the moment, okay, he's a fabulous player. He's got a great skill set. But how do we utilise him in this team to make the most out of him? Are you playing him deep, or are you playing him in the middle with a 3? Because I prefer to play Xhaka deep and have Ramsey and Jack next to each other in sort of the inverted triangle. Because I think with Ramsey's movement, because Jack needs movement ahead of him to get the best out of him, and then you'll see him contributing. And after he's contributed, then you talk about new contract.
Right, should we move on?
I think. Well, no, because now he thinks he's got one over as we discussed the
No,
same point.
no,
No, he hasn't. I thought he was owned by everybody.
Yeah, just carry on. Just please, just carry on. Fuck's
Boys,
sake.
you couldn't own a fucking pack of fags. Get on with it.
Okay, so another player to be taking his chance is Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Ashley.
Is it Ashley?
It's
Ainsley.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, Danny, you're such a tit. Right, I'll say it myself. Conservative. How do we rate his last performance against West Ham? Obviously, we know we didn't win. But Simon, I thought he had a really good game.
I thought he had a really good game, considering it was his first Premier League start. And he's definitely not a left back. I mean, he's been playing at left wing back, which he just about gets away with, but he's definitely not a left back. He's right footed, he's filling in there. And I thought he actually looked surprisingly good defensively. I thought he looked pretty solid. Arnautovic was switching wings and coming down his flank, and he did well with that. And going forward, he actually offered quite a lot, and a lot more than I think we've had at left back when Nacho was playing there a few years ago. Obviously, Kolasinac has been good, but there was that stat today saying Maitland-Niles he's played 1 game in the Premier League and he's already had more successful crosses than Bellerin and Kolasinac have all season. And he's played 15 games fewer than Bellerin and 13 fewer than Kolasinac. So
Wow.
that gives you an idea. I mean, in 1 game, he's put in 4 better crosses than the other guy. So really impressed him, actually. He seems like he's got the right temperament. And with those players that come through at Arsenal, there's normally so many who have got the talent because, it's one of the best academies in the country. If you've got a son and he's that good, you're going to send him to Arsenal, one of those. And it's about temperament are the ones that make it, the ones who've got the attitude. And Wenger and other people speak really, really highly of him. And I think that's why I've been given his chance. Personally, going forward, I'd love to give him a shot maybe at right wing back on his stronger right foot. Bellerin's not been great. I'd really like to see him get given a go there. And I think long term, I think Wenger wants him playing centrally. But the idea being, if you're out wide, you can normally it's not as physical. You get a bit more space, a bit more time than trying to play in the middle of the park. So I think as a Premier League debut, I think he should be very happy. And going forward, he'll probably be pushing to be in that match day 18.
Danny, he has been a positive player, and we are forever looking to the bench and to the youngsters for people to take places. Do you see him figuring much in the future? If West Ham was a stepping stone, then he took his opportunity.
He certainly did, and he's been one of the players that we have been talking about since. He's the only one who's conservative every time we say his name, apart from when I'm busy trying to make. I honestly do get Ainsley and Ashley mixed up, but then it's just brilliant to see that we've got another crop of youngsters coming through. But like Simon was saying, he needs to be played in the right position. But we were talking about this with Femster and Andy on the radio show last night, saying, you've got to balance it out between. He's a 20-year. I mean, he only went 20 in August, so he's a young player. Now, in the days gone past, you very rarely did a player come through the youth ranks and go, right, this is the position I'm playing. Unless it's a goalie, this is the position that I want to be played in. You got to come in. You got to get minutes wherever you can take them. Now, his best position is he's a right-footed, right-side midfielder, and his backup positions are central midfield and right back. But like Simon was saying, he's been playing at left back, and both against West Ham, both of the really good crosses he put right onto the top of Giroud's head. Both of them, he was playing from the left hand side. He stopped, turned, and put them in with his right foot. Now that will hopefully show the kind of player he is. But I've not seen enough of him. I've seen nothing of him other than what everyone else has. But I've not seen George Bird write up about what he could do as a possible right wing back. So I think maybe that would be the only position he could possibly get some game time in. But with Xhaka failing to do anything at the moment, with Ramsey injured, and with Wilshere and with Coquelin and El Neni not really being in favour at the moment, maybe it is time to give him a few games in the central midfield. I mean, Newcastle, have they lost 8 Premier League games in a row or 8 games in a row? What a perfect opportunity to drop him into the middle there. And that could be a magnificent breath of fresh air that the team needs. They need something, because the season is falling on its arse at time. Yeah, I mean, although we're only, it's like Scott said, do we look at this as we're 1 point away from top 4, or do we look at this we're 18 points away from the leaders, or however many points it is? But yeah, it's brilliant. I love seeing, this is why I like the League Cup, because I love seeing these young players come through, and we have got a really decent crop of young players coming through.
It was Premier League, Danny, last night.
Yeah, no, it was. No, in general, people say they don't like the League Cup, but I do like the League Cup in general.
I forgot we're doing this as a collective.
Yeah, as all of the games, I like to see them playing, because before, the only time you'd ever, because when you're playing in the Champions League, none of these players are going to get a look, are they? Apart from against the 6th group game against Olympiacos, that's the only time any of these players will get a look in. But now they're getting it in the Europa League, they're getting it in the League Cup, and they'll probably get the early rounds of the FA Cup, depending on who we're playing. Is it Nottingham Forest? I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so that'd be another one they might get against. And whereas before it would be you're going to get 2 or 3 League Cup games, and then that's all you'll get for the season. Some of these players are going to get 10, 15 games this season, and that's fantastic. That fills me full of Christmas joy.
That was wonderful. Say hello to Sean in the background.
Gimli says hello. What are you doing? Having a poo.
She's making a fucking noise, Danny.
Just putting the decorations up. That's why I keep muting.
Well, push her off the chair or something.
That's why I didn't say conservative, because I was on mute.
Oh, just terrible.
Going on mute again. Bye.
Jace, seeing as you're going to run the rule over players, Giroud, a player that scored one against Bate. He got the equaliser against Southampton, and then against West Ham. What do you do? So, what does he do for you?
It's difficult for him, isn't it? You know, whoever you're playing up front at the moment, right? They're on their own. There's 2 or 3 men on them, right? They've got to run lines against 2 or 3 men. The next 2 attacking players in our lineup are Ozil and Sanchez. Well, Ozil's doing a lot of running off the ball. He's trying to make space and what have you. But you've not got any deep runners coming through from midfield last night. Okay, you do it against Southampton. We didn't do it effectively. We created a few chances, but we couldn't finish. But whoever you're going to play up top, right on, specifically looking at last night's game on this, Ozil's making movement. Sanchez is coming so deep for the ball, and more often than not giving it away and starting a counter-attack against us, that there's no runners coming through to support the front man. So, to be honest, you can have a pop at Olivier Giroud all you want. And yes, I mean, at times he tries the ridiculous. When it comes off, it's fantastic. When it doesn't, he caught Cresswell a beauty last night, didn't he? But I feel for Lacazette and I feel for Oli Giroud at the moment, because the system, the players in the system we're playing just aren't supplying enough support for them. And this is the thing now, because like if you're going to play Jack further behind, or it will be as was last night as well, we're not actually getting them enough support. For all that Ollie's a big man, his greatest attribute is his one-touch stuff, is laying off to a runner coming through onto goal and being creative in that way, and being the man next to take a 1-2 or something like that. That's his really strong suit, and we're not playing to that. We're not getting enough men further forward. We're coming too deep for the ball, and whoever you play up front at the moment, it's awfully hard for them. It's awfully hard for them. When we are putting crosses in, as Danny's just alluded to, only Maitland-Niles, who I think has come on in leaps and bounds. I didn't think he'd come on this well, to be fair to him. He's been superb. Is putting in anything decent. Hector has been garbage this season in that respect. Kolasinac, I don't buy all the bullshit about him either. I think he's a talent. I think he's a good player, but we need more delivery. But is that because of the Sanchez situation at the moment, where he seems to be breaking up more attacks than he's actually creating? Do you know what I mean? The impact on and this applies to, similarly as we were talking earlier on, to Jack as well. If the players in front of you aren't showing themselves, aren't giving them the movement to be able to create, you're flogging a dead horse.
But if you've got a player like Alexis that is losing a ball 24 times, like he did against West Ham, and let's be honest, 24 times was good compared to the 34 against Man United and the 32 against Southampton, was it? I think it was.
It's supposed to be 87 in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Giving the ball away.
You can't afford to do that. Not on this level. Premier League teams. For all people mourn about, say about other leagues being technically good or whatever, the Premier League is so strong, and there's big, quick counter-attacking players in all teams, and they're going to punish us. So whoever you play up top, they're ploughing a lone furrow at the moment. You can knock Oli Giroud, you can knock Lacazette, but where's the support for them?
Talking about last night's game, it's actually the main game that he's featured in of late. I mean, he was up against it last night. They played a 4-5-1 West Ham, set up really, really well. Moyes had them only for a few weeks now, but you can see the difference. They look fitter. They look more organised. He got Stuart Pearce in there to obviously, and I bet they've not even seen a ball. I bet they've just been running and working on that defensive, the shape of the team when the ball turns over. And it was so difficult for us last night, and it's especially difficult for Giroud, because it was playing against 2 centre-halves all the time. There was one in front of him, one behind him. Every time the ball was coming up, I was watching it. He really had no chance, and they was fouling him, pulling him about, and everything else. And it was so difficult for him, because that was their way of stopping the supply. If the ball goes into him, like you say, he's okay with one touch, but once he gets the ball down, someone's going to jump in front of him and nick it off him, and that's what was occurring all the time. But it was very, very difficult. Very difficult for Arsenal yesterday. It was a team that they set out not to lose the match, West Ham, and I personally think we battered them all night long. Like I said, I was sitting with West Ham fans, and they were shitting themselves all the game. All the game, they said, it's only a matter of time. Look, they're battering us. You're battering us. You know what I'm saying to you? And every time we were just the second half, it was like a training game, defence against attack. And
this is the thing. Sorry, Geoff. There's a question for you here now. Okay. We saw what happened last night. As you say, it's attackers versus defenders. Okay, we've got all the possession. Okay, we've got quality players in our team like Sanchez, Ozil, Wilshere, Xhaka, whose distribution can be very good at times. but we keep on doing the same things all the time. It was exactly the same as Southampton, only we got lucky against Southampton.
Problem is, Jace, I think we've got a team of players that on their day could beat anyone, but their day doesn't come often enough.
I totally agree with that, Kim, but coming back to this, Geoff, after the Southampton game, you watched the Southampton game, okay? We were ineffective with so much possession. Why didn't we get any runners going into the box to support Ollie? Why don't we do that?
Well, it's difficult. When teams that put all their players behind the ball, they're blocking off the angles. I know how Arsenal play. Arsenal want to play the little triangles in front of you and short passes inside the box, create an opening, and then have a shot or put somebody in. If you create less space, they're just so compact, and they're trying to make you play inside. So everything's more compact, and there's no space to play. Sanchez, that's why he gives the ball away so much. He'll go down the line, they'll cut inside, and he's looking up for 2 or 3 seconds looking for somebody, but there's just no space in there. They know how to play against Arsenal. But it's not only Arsenal. They'll play against the top teams like Man City, Man United. They'll do the same thing against all of them. It's just sometimes we'll nick a goal, like we did against Southampton at the death, and Burnley. But, it's just very, very difficult. You've got to break these teams down. And when they're fit and they're very, very well organised, unless you get that first goal, you're up against it.
But the point is, how would you make space? You make space for runners. You drag them out of defence. You spook them by getting people running in at different angles. And we simply don't do that. And I don't understand, when we've got so much possession and, there's always spare men, why we aren't intelligent enough to get those runners flying in to cause havoc.
I don't really agree with that, Jason. To be honest with you, I think there's a lot of movement from Arsenal. Arsenal, one of the best teams that make that movement off the ball. It's just the way we play. But like I say, once teams are compact, they'll just pass players on, and they won't run with them to make the hole. That defensive line, they'll just pass him on to the next man, and the space that doesn't come. It's just one of those things. And 9 times out of 10, we do find a way to get through. But you do get the odd game every now and again that you don't. And sometimes it's hard to watch.
And let's come to Simon now, because Simon, you've been very quiet tonight. I'm worried about you. You've heard the back and forth between Geoff and Jason. Where do you sit on all of that?
Oh no, I'm just listening intensely to the debate.
It's been a fiery one tonight.
I know. I don't want to step on Jace's toes.
Don't.
No,
Sorry, I love you.
I'm joking. No, I think it's difficult with Giroud and the whole debate we have surrounding him, because we obviously only play one up top now, don't we, with the system, and Wenger likes us of having sort of 2 10s, or ideally Ozil and Sanchez off him. And for me, I'd love to have Giroud and Lacazette playing together somehow, if you could get that, whether that meant you had 3-5-2 and more sort of defensive minded central midfielders, and instead of having 2 further 10s. But I just feel with Giroud sometimes looks isolated up there, and Lacazette the same sometimes, that if you had them both on at the same time, maybe it'd be a bit different. And in terms of breaking teams down, I've got to agree with Geoff there. I just think it is incredibly difficult to break those teams down when they're set up like that, and they're very, very organised, these teams. I mean, Southampton, Mauricio Pellegrino, he used to be a centre back, and you can see that now, because after sort of 3-4 months, he's got them incredibly drilled. As we say, West Ham, Stuart Pearce, and it is so tough. And we've seen it even with City. City had that Huddersfield game where they got that late goal. They're finding it more, Manchester City, and I think it will get tougher with them. And the benefit, when you've got teams like this that are so set up, you've got to start games quickly. You've got to start games well. Because if you get that opening goal, if you get a goal in the first sort of 10, 15 minutes, they've got to come out and play. And we haven't started games well at all for ages. Other than that Spurs game, I can't think of any game recently where we started well. And we're playing catch up, and it gets harder and harder because you're running out of time. They get more into the game. They get more settled, get more organised. You've got to hit these teams early. You've got to get ahead front and control the game. And I think that is our issue at the moment, is that we're not starting games on the front foot and not putting teams under the pressure early on. And by that point, you get to the second half and you're sort of throwing balls into the box for Giroud. And that's an issue, I think. We're starting games so poorly.
A question for you as well, Simon, seeing as we got you on. Alexis losing the ball 20 plus times a game last night. Do you think that that's time for him to be dropped? And do you think that we would be a better team with or without him?
I mean, on the possession stat, it's not surprising he's the one giving the ball away a lot, simply because he's the one that, I think if you looked at any team, their most important player, their sort of talisman, he'd probably be the one giving the ball away the most, simply because he has the ball the most. The issue with Alexis is obviously he's not getting enough goals or assists to compensate when he loses it, because I reckon if you look at the stats last season, I reckon it would be a similar amount of him giving the ball away. It's just when he's got the ball and the times he does influence it. Last season, he was making inroads and scoring goals, making assists. As for going forward, for me, he hasn't looked happy since the summer, I don't think, since he didn't get that move to Man City. I think that's had a big impact on him mentally. I think not going to the World Cup with Chile, I think that's had an impact on him. He hasn't looked the same since he came back in November. He just doesn't seem happy at the club. And I said it on the podcast in September, or when we were speaking end of August, I would have sold him in the summer. And I would have sold Ozil as well if he wanted to go. But Ozil looks a bit more like he could be tempted into staying. If they don't want to play for you, you're fighting an absolute losing battle. And I think that was where the error's gone wrong now. I would try and keep playing him now and stick with him, simply because on his day, he's still our best player, comfortably. And I think you've got to stick with him. The outrage if you dropped him, I think, would be much greater than if you kept him in the team.
I can see why Barcelona sold him though, because of them stats. So Barcelona are a possession team, like Arsenal.
And he's got a problem, Sanchez, where he left Barcelona because he wanted to be the main man in the team, even though he's winning everything. And now he's leaving Arsenal because he wants to win stuff and not be the main man. So I think he's a bit lost as to what he wants, Sanchez. And to be honest, looking at that City team, I can't see where he's getting in there.
No, I can't.
I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here. I mean, I see the problems with him because he does give the ball away too much. And for a team like Arsenal, that is all possession, right? That's a problem for us, because once the ball turns over, we do expose ourselves a little bit at the back. We're not really, we're so offensive that we don't really, as you well know, Wenger don't really concentrate too much on it's a defensive shape, which is a mistake. I've said it before. But he just wants to play that free-flowing attacking football and try and outscore teams. But with Sanchez, once he gives the ball away, we do struggle a little bit. And like that stat is amazing. 87 times in Arsenal's last 3 games. For an Arsenal player, one individual player in an Arsenal team is incredible. Now, but at the same time, I do think he's still undroppable, because he is a match winner. He is one player that we have that can win the game for you. And unfortunately, we haven't got anybody really to replace him at the moment in the squad.
Would you have sold him, Geoff, in the summer?
I most probably would have sold him, yeah, because, I think he has been a little bit disruptive. But I know for sure that the gaffer, he said at the start of the season that the players that don't really want to play for Arsenal, don't really want to play for the shirt, they're going to be gone over the next period of time. Whether Sanchez is going to be one of those guys, we'll have to wait and see. Personally, I do think he'll be gone in the summer. I don't think he'll go in January, unless they get a good offer for him, unless they get...
Sorry, G, but this is the thing. It's not so much just the giving the ball away with Sanchez. It's he hinders our fluency. When you look at sort of when we counter-attack or what have you, it's always a couple of too many touches. It's always cutting inside. He's always playing himself into trouble. For all he can be a match winner on his day, we've seen it. Last season we saw how many times he could win you a match with a spark of brilliance, and his talent is unquestionable. At the moment, he's not offering us anything. He's not offering us anything at all. And you're almost playing with 10 men at times. And he's dropping so deep for that ball. He's almost getting in the way of players.
I think he maybe overrates himself. Let's just say he went to Manchester City in the summer. I promise you, he wouldn't have been playing that many games. You look at the team that they've got at the minute. The way Sterling's pulled up trees, the way Sane on the left-hand side, that Jesus up top, and then you've got Aguero, he's in and out, Aguero. He wouldn't get in. I can't see him getting in the team.
I
And
felt-
they're a proper
So I think-
City are a proper team, aren't they? As well?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
deep,
and
all
Pep
put
wouldn't
together.
but the thing is, boys, I'd flog him to City tomorrow, okay? Because I think he'd cause havoc in that changing room.
Yeah, but then it weakens our team, though, Jason. It does weaken our team.
Genuinely, mate, he's going anyway. You know, there's no way he's staying at the Arsenal. There's no way he's staying with us, okay?
No, I agree.
He was gone last summer. We should have sold him last summer because at the moment he's contributing next to nothing compared to his talent.
Don't delay the inevitable.
Yeah, but more to the point, it's all he's causing is disruption in our play. He's causing disruption in the dressing room from what we've heard. Okay, so, you know, let him cause disruption elsewhere.
Attitude-wise, he's so different to Ozil, isn't he? Because I think Ozil's has been putting it in, I think. As much as Ozil gets stick because of his style and he looks languid, and I think Ozil's been putting in, certainly over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and maybe that's because the transfer window's coming up, or maybe that's because, you know, he's decided to stay, because the most recent reports is that he's been offered one last big 270 grand a week deal.
But the thing is, he surprised me because his effort has improved dramatically. You can see it; it's tangible. You know, he's running off the ball. He's putting his foot in every now and again. He's making a difference, which we didn't quite see last season, did we?
But you know what, though? I personally think, I mean, and especially from our teams of old, a player of his stature and his position, he's got to be scoring 10, 12, 15 goals a season. I'm afraid he's got to. And because that's goals. You look at the players we've had in that position of the past. They've always got Perez, 15, 18 goals.
Lundberg as well.
Lundberg, he'd get 10, 15 from wide
Even
on the right.
Bergkamp as well, even in that sort of.
Bergkamp, superb player. All those players, they all contribute. And you look at De Bruyne, and I don't know how many goals he's got, but he's a completely different player. That De Bruyne.
Superb.
He's different class, isn't he, mate?
He's the best player I've seen this season. Anywhere.
But see, you've said that, but Danny put in the chat boxes here that AC Jimbo said today the only player to have lost possession more is Ginger Kev at City.
He's on the ball more. He's trying to create.
Yeah.
I bet you he's creating a hell of a lot more than Sanchez. You know, look how many goals he scored this season, how many assists he got this season.
De Bruyne's got 5 league goals and 8 assists.
There you go. And Man City have just won 15 games in the trot. So let's not have a look at Ginger Kev and
Alexis hasn't even got 3 league goals, has he? So
I think that's the problem why we're all suddenly down on Sanchez. Not only the not signing the new contract, it's the fact that last season we allowed him to do what he's doing because he supplied the goals, top goal scorer and assist, and he was either assisting or scoring a goal almost every game. This season, nothing. Very, very little. Very, very poor. So he can't do both. If he wants to be giving the ball away and doing the things that he's doing now, then score goals and get assists. But if you're doing both, then the people are not gonna let you get away with it.
I think we'd be a lot more lenient on him if he had already signed a 2 or 3 year contract for Arsenal. But because we've got that in the background, we've all really got the hump over it that he hasn't signed a contract. He looks like he's nailed on to leave the club. We're not really cutting him any slack.
And rightfully so. G, okay? You know, I mean, look, he's a professional player. He's got a right to go wherever he wants to go. He's got the right not to sign a contract. But if you're going to put on that shirt, okay, you know, we want a level of commitment. We want, you know, whereas he used to lose the ball, he would make the effort to track back, okay? You know, he doesn't seem to be doing that.
I don't think, that we should be playing a player whose head is somebody else. For me, unless you are 110% committed to Arsenal, you shouldn't be in the team. We've seen Oxlade-Chamberlain in that game against Liverpool. Shocking. Should never have played. And I think Alexis is close to that. If that was me, not even a good offer, any kind of offer, preferably sell him abroad. If we can't, just take the fucking mega bucks off Man City, try and replace him the best we can. You know, life goes on. You look, the players we've seen walk away through the years, Perez, Henry, obviously Bergkamp retired. But we've lost all of those players. We still live to fight another day, don't we?
The club moves on, okay? You know, nobody's bigger than the club. You see a lot of fanboys, blah, blah, blah. Alexis Sanchez deserves better. Go fuck yourselves. Nobody deserves better. There's no better than the Arsenal. This is a magnificent football club, okay? Yes, we've got our problems at the moment, but nobody's bigger than the club. But, the big issue is at the moment that, when you look at Alexis Sanchez's output and contribution to the team, it's poor for a player of his quality.
I don't think that you can ever give 100% for a football club if you don't want to stay there.
Look at Henry's last season with us.
I don't think it works. I think it only works in rare situations where it's someone like, with sort of Suarez in his last season at Liverpool, where they basically get told, look, you're going in a year. You do one more year here, then we're going to sell you for X amount of money. Or, Ronaldo 2008, 2009, Man United, where Fergie said, give me one more year, then you get your big move. That's the only time it works, I think. Whenever you keep someone against their will, I can't think of many players where they played better. And Henry, Jace, is probably a good example of that. And even Fabregas a bit when that was sort of dragging on. I mean, he went on to strike and stuff. But you're better off just
cutting your losses.
Cutting your ties and just getting rid of it, I think. And then,
because the thing is, for all the outrage that you'll get from the fan base, the team's the most important thing, isn't
what's the dressing room? Imagine if you're in that Arsenal dressing room now and you maybe shouldn't be starting, or arguably not, but someone like Danny Welbeck or, Iwobi or Walcott, and you're like, Sanchez doesn't even want to fucking be here. He's playing crap and he's getting picked ahead of me.
It causes a stink, doesn't it? It causes a stink, and this is the problem. You hear people talk about who we should get in, who we shouldn't get in, blah blah. We should sell them, what have you. We can't even afford to look outside of Ozil and Sanchez at the moment because of their stature within the club, because their quality as footballers. You talk about whether we give Jack another contract or not. Do you know what I mean? Never mind Jack at the moment. Personally speaking, I would re-sign him, but your focus has got to be on who the hell do we replace Alexis Sanchez with? And until Mesut Ozil signs, we have to go back up. Fuck! Don't get me started on Iwobi.
There was a bit on him, but it's already been a bit too arguey, so we're not going to go down that route.
I'm just going to say his decision making is dog shit.
Although we have done an hour on the games so far, which is quite good.
Yeah, but how do we replace the likes of Sanchez and Mesut Ozil on the limited resources we have?
I don't think we'll be replacing Mesut Ozil, Chase. I think
I hope you're right.
It's going to stay.
I hope you're right. I do. I flip flopped on these two so much because you saw the contribution from Sanchez last season, magnificent. You see a kind of renaissance this season from Mesut Ozil. But I think Geoff's right. If you're Mesut Ozil and you want 270 grand a week, you've got to be contributing a bit more in front of goal. He does have his opportunities, and it's a major weakness of his, and he has to improve it.
Which one do you say, Jace? And I've probably asked this a few times on the podcast. If one of them said, right, I'll stay, and the other one goes, out of the two of them, which one do you pick?
I've changed my mind on this so much over the last couple of seasons. Because, it all depends who's in form, who's contributing, etc. And, but for me, Sanchez just doesn't want to be there. I just don't see him wanting to be there, so I'd keep Mesut.
I think I probably agree with you. And I think it's a decent question, so we'll go round the folks on this one. And, Geoff, I'll come to you next. One stays, one goes.
If they're both ready to really play for Arsenal, I'd most probably keep. I would most probably keep Alexis Sanchez.
Any reason for that?
I just think he can score you goals, and he is one that he's that kind of player, that attacker, that if he's really, really on it and he really does want to play for you, he can change the game. He's got all those tricks and that, and he does inspire other teammates as well with his work rate and stuff like that. With regards to Mesut Ozil, you know what? I think he's a wonderful player. But I've said it in the past many times. I think the Premier League's maybe 10% too fierce for him, too fast for him. They're big, strong boys in the Premier League, and they throw their weight about. I think he needs another couple of seconds on the ball. But having said that, the last 4 or 5 games, 6 games, he seemed to have stepped up a little bit. You know, he's a lovely player, but I do think he'd be a little bit easier to replace than Alexis Sanchez, because Alexis does give you something different.
Are you muted again, you tit?
Of course he's muted.
Yes, I was muted. Simon, we'll go to you next.
If they were both in their pomp like they were sort of a few years ago and both fully committed, I'd keep Sanchez. But with the situation how it is now and the way Sanchez is playing, the attitude he's giving off, I think you'd have to keep Mesut.
It's difficult, doesn't it, Si? You know, you look at them. There's two different skill sets. One, I
prefer watching Özil play. I think Özil, when he's in full flight, is such a beautiful player to watch and so enjoyable. But Sanchez is probably more effective.
And those goals against sort of attempts, created attempts at goal.
Yeah.
How do you weigh that up? I couldn't argue with any of those answers, because you look at it, as Geoff said, if they're both in their pomp.
Yeah, even if I know we're sort of saying we think Ozil's going to stay, I'm going to find it so weird if he stays, simply because he's supposedly been offered sort of double money since, I don't know, January it's been talked about, maybe slightly before then, so about a year. So he'll have essentially wasted a year of his career where he could have earned double pay, and he eventually signed a contract, which I think would be so odd from him. Whether he was actually genuinely torn about whether he wanted to stay or not, maybe that's the reason. But from a financial viewpoint, I mean, if you're his agent, you're like, why'd you wait a year to sign it? We've just wasted, 14 million quid by you dilly-dallying.
I'm pretty sure there's this signing on fee, wouldn't there?
I definitely wouldn't give him, as it stands at the moment, there's no way in the world I'd give him 250 grand a week. Never mind about 275 grand. I would be pressed. I'd really be pressed to give him 185, 200 grand a week as it stands at the moment. I think we can. I'd rather have a go at getting somebody else in and trying to work with them.
Danny, let's have your answer on this one, and then we're going to go to listener questions.
Well, you look at their overall stats for Arsenal. Ozil in 5 seasons, 212 games, 41 goals, 74 assists. So he's getting a goal every 5 games and an assist every 3, which isn't too bad. But then you look at Sanchez, 158 games, 76 goals, 39 assists. That's a goal virtually every other game, an assist every 4, 8, 12, 6, 4, 8, 12, assist every 4 games. But the drop in consistency from the last few seasons for Sanchez compared to now is huge. His heart isn't in it. It's just like he's just playing by the numbers. He's constantly getting shut down. His runs are ending in nothing. He's played this season 14 games, got 5 goals and 3 assists. But Mesut, I think Mesut will always, he seems to be more professional. Mesut's game doesn't rely on him having to make these darting runs. So I just think Mesut is the more professional player. I mean, this season, Mesut, 14 games, 2 goals, 8 assists. So he's just doing the same thing that he's always doing. This, he needs to add a few more goals to his thing. So for me, Mesut all day long. And I think there is a chance that Mesut might stay because the amount of money. And like Geoff was just saying, how much would you pay him? I don't care. It's not my money. I've given up one. I was thinking, we should pay this amount for this player. We'll buy them for that. I don't care. It's not mine. Just pay him whatever he wants. But it doesn't matter. We're never going to beat Man City because they will always offer more money for wages and transfer fees with their half-empty stadium and all their plastic fans. So football's broken.
That's why you got to do it differently, I think, isn't it? You got
to try. At least we've got youth players coming through.
Try a bit of youth or something different. Yeah. Or instead of going to try and buy another Ozil or a Sanchez, look at it differently and try and, younger players and give them a chance. Try and buy the next big thing, then the big thing. I think is the only way you can battle it.
On that note,
and then sell him to Man City for double the money with him.
On that note, I know what you guys think, but I've been excited by watching Nketiah, Willock, Maitland Niles, and Nelson come through. In the Europa League games, yes, they've had ups and downs, but
that's the easiest way to get fans on side, isn't it? Play a local young kid who supports the club and give them a chance, and if they do well, imagine. The elation on Twitter when Eddie Nketiah got those goals was won the bloody league. Like that is the easiest way to get fans on side. I think you see it with any club.
And it's this thing, going back to the Jack thing, we all want Jack to do well.
Yeah.
We all want him to do really, really well. I just think we have to tinge it with a little bit of reality at the moment. We have to look at it and say, right, how do we get the best out of this team and fit him in there to get the best out of him, to make him effective in this team? And I think that's what we need to do with these young guys, because, Maitland-Niles, I know he's doing this sort of apprenticeship of, different positions to learn about the game at the moment, but he looks exciting and he looks ready to compete.
And I think this season, when you look at it, there's, when a new manager goes in, they say it's a rebuilding season. I think this could be a rebuilding season. Just look at like I said earlier, the sheer number of games that our youth players are getting in all 4 competitions that we'll be playing in. That is going to bring them on leaps and bounds. That's the kind of stuff that will take 3 or 4 years usually to come through. And like we beat Man City at their place in the under-23s, and we smashed Spurs like 5 or 6-0. So there's a lot to be happy about, and it means we're not going to have to go and pay 200 million for a player and pay him £500,000 a week, because that's the way most of them are going. So, yeah.
Problem is though, Dan. You put these. You'll try and ask them. You'll ask them to make the transition into the first team, 1 or 2 of them. And they'll do all right for a couple of games. The first bad game, the crowd and Arsenal fickle fans will be all over them, like they've done to Callum Chambers, like they've done to Rob Holding, like they're doing to Hector Bellerin. All of them, every single player that goes for a little bit of a bad spell, they're all over him.
I think people need to remember that Hector is only 22 years old and he's played 133 games for Arsenal. And when he first came in, he's got no. That's something someone else has brought up, and they're saying one of the questions about should he get some start playing Debuchy in that position, because he knows he's going to start every single game no matter what. And he's made it. So why he shouldn't try anymore?
He looks like, to me, watching the game, every single game I've seen this season, and I watch him closely, he looks like he's lost his bottle, because he had numerous occasions last night where he could have had a go at their left back, 1 against 1. Now he's got plenty of pace. You've only got to get the ball past this guy and have a foot race. Now he's got a right chance if he has a foot race, and he doesn't. That's our problem. We haven't really got right or left back that would go stand up, put the ball down, and say, "Come on, let's have it." We'll have a trick and have a go or something like that. But we don't have it, so he's lost his bottle. And we could offer so much more. You look at the top right backs, and you look at Walker, what he's done. He's a £50 million transfer, right? But he bombs on. He's bang on that right hand side. He's exactly what Pep Guardiola wanted last season.
And that's the thing, isn't it, G? You want these players to improve year on year. And unfortunately for Hector at the moment, he's stumbling. He's gone backwards a little bit. But we did the radio show. I think it's Huddersfield. And Hector had numerous opportunities to open his legs and just get down the flank, okay? And the one time he did it, he had them terrified. There was panic there.
The thing is about these fullbacks, right? Especially young guys like him. Even if you have 3 or 4 attempts and you only get 1 decent ball in, you have a go. Arsenal at the moment, especially if you're an opposing fullbacks, right? You know that if you go 1 against 1 with Hector Bellerin, he's going to stop and pull the ball back. He's just going to pass it backwards. You've got to change it. You've got to give him something to think about, because that left back's thinking, all right, let's get the shape right, get myself into a position where I'll make him play it inside. I'll make his mind up for him, because I know he's not going to want to have a go at me. You've got to do it every now and again. You've got to just knock the ball in the hole and run after it. Give the player something to think about.
But we're also the midfield, Ramsey and Xhaka. They don't put the ball in those dangerous areas behind the opposing left back to invite Hector to run onto either, do they?
But to be honest with you, that's what I'm saying to you. Yeah. I don't think Hector is really making them runs. We're talking about Walker. You look at him. You took even the guy on the left-hand side of the City. If the ball's on the right-hand side and it's making its way over to the left-hand side, the left back, I promise you, he's smashing it down that left-hand side, if only to pull the right back across further.
Yeah.
They're making runs where Hector, I don't think he fancies going at players. I don't think he fancies he can whip the ball in. It's a shame, because at first he did.
It's this thing of, you go back and you look at Beckham and you wonder if these guys are doing the old Beckham thing of staying behind and working on this part of their game after training. Because I don't see them doing it. Beckham used to get a lot of stick for being a bang average footballer according to a lot of people, but he improved season upon season and played for the biggest clubs in the world.
Well, you see players like Mark Over. I know he's not a fullback, but
Yeah,
he used to get the ball down and just run at players, and it causes so much havoc because you don't really know what he's going to do. Even some of our own players didn't know what he was going to do. And Bobby Perez, he'd just go down, he'd have a little trick, and he'd just run at players. For Freddie Ljungberg, the same thing.
and this is the point I was making earlier on. The more runners you have, the more doubt is in the defence's mind. The more you will unsettle those two banks of four they're putting up against us at the moment. Unless we're going to try to get in behind, it's pointless at the moment. We need people coming apace and going deep. And with Hector's pace, look at Kolasinac on the left. I don't think he's been as great as people have made out. He's done some.
US Male Player of the Year.
Who was that? Who was that?
Sorry.
Yeah, he's done some great things.
Just trying to shut Jace up. Just trying to get.
Sorry. Oh, cheers, mate. He's done some great things, but we need to utilise these guys more.
Right.
We said that about quickly. We were talking about running at players and getting the ball down. That's what we've been screaming at Walcott to do for 10 years, isn't it?
Not got the bottle. Hasn't got the bottle. Said it from day one.
Yeah. Maybe that's the same with Bellerin at the moment, isn't it?
Maybe there's something. Maybe there is something amongst the coaches. Maybe Wenger does tell them to no. Maybe it's a 50-50 chance. Maybe he doesn't want to play that way. I'm not really sure. It could be right. Maybe that's why they turn inside. You see the right back and the left back. They keep on turning inside.
Yeah, we did it with Sanya and Walcott for years, didn't we? From Sanya's early days of this, where he would get to the byline, he would put a cross in. It stopped. All of a sudden, it stopped, come back, stop, come back. So it must be in the coaching.
Must be. Danny.
Hello.
Let's do some listener questions. We have approximately 17 minutes to get this through.
Oh, lovely. Okie dokie. Right, first question is from our very own Canadian colonial canon. When I say Canadian, it's all the C's in it. He says, is this Wenger's worst... That's our Jason, in case people didn't know the other one. Is this Wenger's worst season of man management? First team players who have only played in the league being, and he quotes, rested because of fixture congestion, when in the past they've played in the Champions League, the Premier League, and we've seen less rotation. What gives this season? You can have that, Gimli.
Oh, shit.
You weren't listening, were you?
No, it was just unexpected. What is it? His worst season?
And why is he doing it? How comes last season people were playing in Europe and the league, and now you either play in the league or you play in Europe with very little crossover? Why?
But I guess now he's got the squad depth to be able to do that. Maybe there's youngsters there that he believes can go out and do the job, or that the Champions League is a more competitive competition than what the Europa League is. I mean, let's be honest. Had we fielded the sides that we've been fielding in the Europa League and the Champions League, we would have got dicked most weeks. We would have. There's no arguments about it. And he's fielded the youngsters to give the first team more of a break. Because let's be honest, if a player can be fresher for a big game, then fantastic. I don't know why it's not worked. I couldn't tell you that. I honestly don't know. Anybody here can elaborate on maybe why it hasn't worked, even though we've had...
ask them. We'll never shut up and get through the rest of the questions.
All right, that's my answer then.
Okay, right. Question for Geoff. Everyone's going to get one question. No interruptions. I've started, so I finish. From Schwinn, Geoff. He says, Bellerin has been consistently mediocre over the last few weeks, arguably over the whole season. Considering Debuchy's performances in our B team, do we need to start rotating them in the Premier League as well? Hector could do with a kick up the arse, because you were just talking about that.
Yeah, I agree. Where'd that come from?
Schwinn,
yeah, I agree. I think I've spoke about this before in the past. He seems to be in the comfort zone. He doesn't look like he's got anybody challenging him. What I've seen and I've seen all the games live, our home games where Debuchy has played, and he's done a good job. But you're talking about before the internet, before his injury. was it? Must have been 18 months ago or something like that. Now he was the France right back. You know, he was a good solid international footballer. Obviously he might have lost a little bit of pace now, but you know what? Some of them games I do think sometimes maybe you give him a run and see how he gets on.
Jolly good. Right, also from Schwinn, because he sent in 612 questions. This one for you, Jace. You ready?
Yeah.
He says, on tactics, how do you feel about a 4-1-2-1-2? Hold on, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, let's make sure he's got the right number of players, unlike me. For life after Sanchez. Standard back four. Nacho misses out, unfortunately. Xhaka as DM. Ramsey and Jack split in midfield. Ozil as a 10. And Laka and Giroud up top. Oh, dear.
You're looking at basically a 4-3-3 there. I wouldn't be against that. The big issue then is getting width. Whereas I think, you know, if you got Jack in the three-man midfield, he'll spray the ball about, but then, you know, your right back and left back have to be very effective. And your DM has to be disciplined in getting back because they will have to push up to create the width. Okay, but no, I wouldn't be against that. I would like to see it, you know, 4-3-3. You know, Mustafi, Koscielny, Kolasinac, Hector, Jack, Xhaka as the holding mid because I think he's got better long distribution. Jack and Ramsey, with Ramsey bombing forward, Jack distributing, Ozil, and I would play Giroud up top with Lacazette just floating in and around him because I think Lacazette's first 5 yards, his movement and his intelligence, his movement, I think he'll create a lot with that because he's 2 or 3 steps ahead of a lot of defenders in his movement off the ball. But you know, your left and right back have to be effective, and your DM has to be very disciplined.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Right, one for Simon from Josh Robinson 87. He says, anyone else be glad if we get Arteta back as manager? He could be the young, ambitious manager that we were in desperate need of. What do you think are his positives? And you're not allowed to say his wonderful Lego style hair.
Well, he's got a bit of a nasty cut at the moment, anyway, doesn't he? So
he'll bring into work a pint of milk.
I don't know whether I'd have him coming straight in as manager. From everything I heard when he was there as captain at the club, because obviously towards the end he didn't really play, but he was still captain. He was massively respected by the players, very much liked. Was an exceptional trainer. You know, I remember I think some of the younger players were saying they used to watch Arteta warm up and he would stretch muscles you didn't even know you had. He was so meticulous, and I think certainly his future aim is to be a manager, and he's learning off someone like Pep, which is a major plus point for him. And anything he can get off him would be great for us. As being manager for us, not in the immediate future, wouldn't be one for me. But going down the line, if we got a new manager next, whoever that may be, it would be quite nice if Mikel come back as maybe as an assistant. So he's just a coach at City. If we got him back as an assistant, maybe. So whoever we got in. But the one I'd always love to see manage us again would be Vieira for me. I think he's doing a very good job over in America. I know City have got him a bit sort of wrapped up and are grooming him because he's managing New York. But if I could have any of our former players back as a manager, it'd be him for me. Just because I think he'd be great for us, and his aura and everything about him, I think, would be what we need in a post sort of Wenger era where you're going to need someone with that strong discipline.
And do you have any insider information whether Arteta is fit yet?
Yeah, he's not quite fit yet. Still. The great thing about Arteta is that he rejected a job at Spurs, so I mean he knows what he's like for him. Though. But he's going to be not fit at the moment because he's got that nasty cut on his eye. So
it's awful.
Who would throw a bottle at Mikel Arteta? That is savage, isn't it?
He probably caught it, chested it down, and hoofed it back at them.
It was probably Lukaku. He threw it at Pep, missed, hit Arteta.
Oh dear. Right, Gimli, one for you from Bobby. Check your boot there. He says, do we actually do tactics, and should Sanchez be dropped to the bench?
Yes, I think Sanchez should be dropped. I've had enough of him. I don't think his head's at Arsenal Football Club, and as I've already said in the podcast, that I think that if any half-decent offer comes in January, we should snap their hand off and take it. And does Arsene Wenger do tactics? Yes, but not very
Only
often.
when it comes to his negotiation for his massive pay increases.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Was that short and sharp enough for you?
That's wonderful. It means we might actually get some tea tonight. Our next question is from Ian Henderson for you, Geoff. He says, any truth in the Nzonzi rumours? Why do you think Arsene never drops out of form players like Bellerin, Sanchez and Xhaka? And he says, have a great show, guys. And just a little information. Nzonzi, we remember him from his time at Blackburn and Stoke. He's now at Sevilla, which I probably said wrong, and he's 6'3", 28 years old. Oh, he's 29 tomorrow. Oh, that's a little bit old, isn't it? What do you think, Geoff?
I haven't heard anything, but I would be very, very surprised if Stephen Nzonzi is of interest of Arsenal Football Club.
Apparently, he's got a £21.5 million buyout clause from Sevilla, which you could probably buy that club for that. And the way things are going, all the teams are bankrupt in Spain apart from 2 of them. Oh, okay. Well, he doesn't know. Well, this next question is for you, Jace. Another one of your favourites from Jove82.
Hey!
What a hero.
You got your microphone too close to your ear, bloody thing again, Jace.
Sorry.
You're a bad man. He says, after his latest comments, can we assume that Giroud is on his way out?
I don't know his latest comments.
They're on about, would you like a loan? Or Simon, what did he say?
Well, the first one was the French assistant came out and said Giroud needs to get more minutes to get in the World Cup squad, and then Giroud sort of hinted that he would be not opposed to going on loan just before the World Cup.
I don't know. I don't know.
Make something up. We would.
You know, it's a World Cup season. He's ambitious to be in the French team. I wouldn't blame him if he wanted a loan. At the moment, he's not played a massive amount of any real competitive football. And even if he is playing, he's playing, you know, like a la Lacazette, he's playing up top on his own, you know, struggling at the moment. So I wouldn't blame him if he did. It would annoy me, but I wouldn't blame him.
Okay. Well, we've only got one more quote. We've got a thing from Alex. It says, tonight I have no question, only this. Hope everyone is as apathetic as I am to the whole current situation. I'll bake you a cake for being so great. Merry Christmas to all. And then finally, there's one for you, Gimli, from Jack.
Lovely.
A View to Urzul says, will Colin be replaced on Christmas Day? Hashtag After Dark. Hashtag Indie Chris. Hashtag Carpenter Out.
Colin will never be replaced. There is only one Colin, and the place for him is in my heart.
And we won't tell why. You know, if you listen to the extras, you might hear why he has no need for Colin anymore. A little story about his dog there.
Oh, you're going to put that in?
No, well, fuck.
No, you don't. No, I mean, I don't care if you want.
Because Kate will find out where I live and murder me.
No, she won't. Trust me.
I wouldn't put that in, mate. That's dicing with death.
But now people are going to be sat there going, oh, I wonder what that story was about his dog giving him the evils after he frogged his missus.
And that was leapfrog in the garden in the snow, and we shall leave that there. Gimli, we've got to do predictions.
We've got 2 predictions this week, haven't we?
Oh, we certainly do.
Newcastle home and West Ham at home.
Yes.
So we'll go to you, Danny, first, and just give me your Newcastle prediction and your West Ham prediction.
Oh, I hadn't cut and pasted the West Ham bit. It's a West Ham. It's on Saturday, 3:00 kickoff, which I know is a bit of a strange one. It's not used to that, are you, Geoff? So for Newcastle, I think they've lost 8 games in a row. I think we're going to tonk them. I'm going to go 5-0. First goal scorer. Ooh, Sanchez.
Fucking hell, you're ambitious.
Oh, no.
Jace.
Oh, okay, go on.
Oh, yeah. No, we'll do Newcastle then West Ham. Jace.
4-0 to the Arsenal. Lacazette.
Wonderful, Geoff.
3-0 Lacazette.
Okay, wonderful. And Simon.
Is this home or away?
Home.
Home. I'm gonna go 2-0 and Ozil.
Wonderful. And I nearly was about to cunt you off then because I'm going 2-0 Lacazette. Simon, we'll stick with you then and we'll go West Ham at home.
West Ham at home. So this will be the Carabao Cup, won't it? I'm going to go 2-1 And Giroud.
Lovely. Geoff?
Yeah, 2-1. I'll go 2-1 Giroud. I'm going to do it, yeah.
Marvellous. Jason?
4-0 Walcott.
Marvellous. And Danny?
3-1 Giroud. And what was Jeff's and Jason's one? Because I hadn't written the West Ham ones. What was yours and Jason's for Newcastle?
3-0 me. 3-0
3-0
me. Lacazette.
Oh, Jace?
4-0 Lacazette.
Okay. Gimli, what was yours for West Ham? Or haven't you done it yet?
1-0 Giroud.
So
Who's winning, by the way? You rigged it yet, Danny? Or
Actually, I spent 2.25 hours this week typing in, going through my phone, getting everyone's message, and I must say, it was a pleasure to get messages from John Welsh, because he is the only, I think there maybe might have been one other, but there was only 2 people that could actually be bothered to put the fixtures the right way round. And I had to keep going and look at them and going, oh, what date do they send me the message and all this lot. You might have been the other one, Jace.
I do it the right way as well.
I do it.
You don't do anything,
it the right
shut
way.
your noise.
Oh, fuck off, fatty.
We've had none from Kate, hardly any from Dom. He's got the ump. Shredder does a few, but yeah, it's I've put them all on there, but I haven't had all the points up yet. I think I'm going to start deleting people from the league because they're just not giving me the predictions, and it's making me sad.
I'm giving you the predictions. I do it on here, so therefore I don't have the need to message you and like prod the fucking wasp's nest, because then you'll get chatting, and I don't want to be stuck there chatting with you for hours.
There'll be a picture of me doing something.
It's
awful.
like I liken the predictions league to when like an elderly relative phones at Christmas and the phone gets passed around the house. No one really wants to talk to her, but it's something that's got to be done. There.
I just did a little jump and woke Sean up. Isn't that terrible?
Oh, that's absolutely awful. We'll move on to shout outs this week, and I'm going to go first. The one and only shout out for me this week is for @RSL Believe. Or Be Live, should I say. And that is Wyatt Utah Gooner. He listens to this podcast and dropped me a message this week. It went to my request because I don't follow him, but I had a lovely chat with him. And he wanted to know who the fat man was that I did it with. So his name is Danny. Hello, Danny. Thank you. And so that is @RSLBELIVE. Wonderful. Danny.
Right, mine's going to quick 3 ones @DAX_17 and @MarkJJay Boogie BOOGIE, and also Aldershot Gooner. They're the 3 people who won the signed Tony Adams books that it's taken me so long to send them to them. They're now worth twice as much money. And so far, only Connor, Aldershot Gooner, is the only one to have said they've arrived, and he tweeted some pictures because I put loads of hashtags and abuse and all those other bits.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I've got to fucking pull you up on that. What was that about?
What?
Oh, Jace. He is claiming, Danny is trying to claim that I is one of your sort, and Dirty and Ginger.
I put hashtag Welsh Gimli.
He's not allowed in.
No.
So just to confirm, Jace, am I Ginger?
Yes.
Fuck you.
Yeah, so they're just those 3, and they've received the books.
Hey, can I go now? Because I've got to make a quick move.
Yes.
Oh.
Go on, then let's have your shout out.
I got 2. One's for our Mark Gunner Runner. He's running the London Marathon for children with impaired vision, so please support him. And the other one is Saint Stephen. Oh, where is he? He's gone. Where the bloody hell's he gone? He's a big Jack Wilshere fan.
Who's that, big Geordie?
No, he's a big Jack Wilshere fan. He tweets me every time he gets selected. He's brilliant. Yeah,
So he's had 3 tweets off him in a year.
Something like that. But
Are you in a rush to go, Jace?
I'll be back now, yeah.
Go on, fuck off then. Right. Simon.
First one, just a quick one for our very own Fifey. Got engaged past few days. I'm sure most of our followers will have seen on Twitter. So congratulations to Fife and the future Mrs. Fife.
Lord and Lady Fife, as they shall now be known.
We heard her on the last show, like battering pots and pans about, didn't we?
It sounded like Phil Collins on the drums in the background.
A glimpse into the future. And then the other one is for, probably most people listening to it, but 15th of December is National Christmas Jumper Day. Arsenal normally get behind it. They donate some money to save the children. So put on your filthiest Christmas jumper tomorrow or today, whenever it is, because I'm doing that, and show a bit of support for it.
I bet you've got loads of the dirty swines.
Well, I've got 4 or 5 Christmas jumpers to pick from, so
I can't get one to fit me.
Can we post a picture from our Twitter feed of you in a Christmas jumper?
of course, yeah.
Wonderful. So get behind that and send us pictures of you in your Christmas jumper. And don't forget to give this podcast a like. Geoff, finally you. Is there anywhere you need to be?
No. Well, I'm going to give a shout out to a group of overseas fans. So that's quite topical.
They don't know
isn't it?
anything about football, Geoff. What are you doing, man?
I know. But this mob, they definitely do know a lot about football, and they're Arsenal through and through. And win, lose or draw, not like some of the fickle fuckers that are on Twitter at the moment. They're a group from Limerick. They're called Borks Bar, Bourkes Bar. They're obviously a little fan group from that particular bar. The bar's at number 72 Catherine Street in Limerick. Get down there, they show all the Arsenal games. But they're coming over this weekend and they're sitting in the club level for the Newcastle game. So good luck to them. Hope they enjoy themselves.
Wonderful. Oh, I like the shout-outs this week. Danny, I believe we've got something to do with stickers. Are we going to do the question now?
Yes. First of all, do you want me to tell people who they are?
I'll tell you what. You tell them what it is,
and
I'll say what the question is.
Okay, it's the lovely people at Guna Stickers, and that's the at Guna Stickers. They sent us a little message saying, as it's Christmas, would you like? We've got an assortment of packages of stickers, like Thierry Henry one, where it's half a red shirt, half a yellow shirt, like the England flag with the Arsenal symbol on it, and then like London's Finest one with the clocks and the clock end, and a whole load of them. And they said we'll give 3 sets of these stickers away, only to people in the UK, because saves on postage. The book that we posted to Holland cost us twice as much as the one that we posted to the UK. Oh, feel done. So they said, so we've if you go and follow them, and then Gimli's going to give you a really hard question, and then they will go, or we'll pick 3 winners, and then they'll post them to you, because then if they post it to you, you know you're going to get it this season, rather if I did it, it would take about 2 or 3 years. So that's at Guna Stickers. And Gimli, what's the question?
The question is, for long-time listeners of this show, when we had our original panel when we first started, who was given the question, should we shoot more?
And is there a tiebreaker? Should we shoot more?
should we shoot more?
No, it's just a simple question. Which one of the panel back in from what the first 10 shows was it? Something like that?
Yeah, I got another tiebreaker question. And what was the colour of the thingy on his electronic cigarette? What was the colour of the cherry on his electronic cigarette? So.
That's a hard. I don't know the answer to that, and I was there.
Just think about it. Just think of his accent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're giving it away. It's a he now.
Well, Kate wasn't here at the beginning. She was off doing her own things with that trollop from Essex.
Oh dear. Yes. So tweet us.
I should say other Essex trollops are available.
They are. There's plenty of them.
Yes.
So just tweet us, and in the tweet include the at Guna Stickers in the tweet, so they see it as well. And then between us, we will pick 3 winners, and they will post it to you. So that's 3 people that are going to win that. We're getting nothing out of this as usual. We're just too bloody kind, Gimli.
Do we not even get a pack of stickers for ourselves?
Well, they did offer us some, but I said no.
And you said no.
I said we don't take free stuff.
Who fucking employed you, head of negotiations?
Chaz
is far too clever to employ you to do anything apart from push buttons.
That's good. Right, wrap this shit up. Jeff's got to go.
Lovely. Just like Jace. So thank you to all of my wonderful guests tonight. Simon, Jason and Geoff. Danny, you had to be here.
And I'm glad you were here.
And I'm glad I was here too. I feel that a gay old time has been had by all.
Oh, very fulfilled.
Yes, we will be back. We'll be back for one more podcast before Christmas. That is going to be exactly a week from now. So we are now back on Thursdays for the foreseeable until Europa comes back.
Just the middle of February 2018.
Have you got any final finishing points on this?
Absolutely not. I've got my Christmas tree up. That's all you need to know.
I do feel...
You got a Christmas tree up?
Certainly do.
Oh, so he comes back just for the laughs.
Oh, you go and watch the radio show from last night. We had Femster and Andy making their debuts, and they were both very good. And you can see my Christmas tree all the way through that video. So go there, give it a thumbs down, and give us some abuse in the chat box.
Beautiful. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
And here's some more shenanigans after the podcast ended.
Will we be doing an After Dark over the Christmas period?
If you want, we can.
Would you an After Dark?
Yeah, are you up for an After Dark, Simon?
I'd quite like one, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. We always do an After Dark at Christmas. It's like almost tradition.
Little treat.
Someone might even buy you a Christmas sock, Gimli, or two of them.
Oh, no, all right. I'm already dreading my birthday on Sunday.
How old are you going to be? 34? 35?
32.
You old bastard. You look in the mirror, you should be grateful you look about 50.
You're only 32.
That's
Yeah.
what I keep telling him.
Fuck off, Jace. I know I make weather jokes about you on the podcast, but that is beyond the pale. I am a young-looking gentleman.
You're fucking not. You look extremely bejaggled.
I gotta be honest. First, when I met you in Cardiff, mate, I genuinely thought at first, oh fuck, not another fucking homeless cunt begging for money.
Oh, fuck you.
Penny for the bread.
Penny for the guy.
He still took your money though, didn't he?
No, he got his round of coffees, not a problem. He's good like that.
He went outside. He was 20 minutes getting the money for him.
So, honestly, Gim, I had you down as 44.
40 fucking 4.
I showed Sean a picture of you, and she said, "How old is he?" I said, "He's about 30." She went, "Fucking hell." He's had it rough.
17th of the 12th, 1985.
Oh, Jesus.
Amazing, because Dom looks about 18, so.
Oh, that fucker's just naturally good looking, isn't he? Bastard.
He's blessed in every department, apparently.
I don't want to know, but it's down under, but.
Lovely.
I was surprised how tall Si was.
Yeah, I was still next to Chris all night, that's why.
He's 6 what? 6'1"?
6'2", 6'3".
6'2", 6'3", yeah. I thought.
He's 5 feet tall.
That's twice as tall as Gimli.
Fifey's was 6.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I had Fife at about 5'9".
What's Chris? Chris is about 4'1", 4'2".
4'1".
No, he's satin high heels on. He is.
He's officially a midget without the Cuban heels.
That's why he can't do any cobs at the moment, isn't it? Because he's in panto.
Fucking hell. I'm not being funny, okay? Apparently, they're trying to do a new Wizard of Oz movie, and the producers are all over him.
Oh.
I love the fact you get that.
And he is more than accommodating for all of their twisted needs.
Oh, you know what? Funny, mind you. He is funny. Yeah,
We'll have to organise another night out. That was a good night, that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But look at the January one now. I'll do a shout to my nephew up as well, and we'll have a few beers around the places.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of that.
I'm talking beer.
Are you?
Yeah. I mean, I want to bring my nephew up to the Emirates, and probably get a cheap hotel room and just a few beers. It's cheap as chips, and you get the best. Bloody hell.
It's like £3, isn't it? Return back to sunny Wales.
I had first when I went up to Georgie, I had a mega bus up and back, $6.50.
I think the old boy on the back of the megabus looks a bit like you, Jace.
Steady. He knows roughly what you do.
Come on.
Mate,
This is pot shots tonight. He's getting personal.
Mate. I'll put a couple of coppers in the cap next time you were done tonight. Okay, sit down and shut up.
And one of them's going to be a euro just to fuck you over. You won't know what it is.